Mandy, big up yourself. Rosa, big up yourself. All right, so we're ready to go now, guys. Today's program is very interesting. I don't even have to. I don't even have to say anything more because you guys saw the title right at the bottom there, right? You saw the title right at the bottom there. So everybody who was asking what is this show all about today, just read the title right at the bottom there. It says former car thief, former lesbian, former drug user. Also, we gonna learn a whole lot more stuff about our next guest, guys. Let me take time to welcome her on the program here right now. She currently is in Florida somewhere enjoying the hot sun while we here in New York and we cold as hell. How are you doing, Latoya D.Jones? What's up?
Hi everyone, I'm very well. How are you?
I am great. I am great. Latoya, let me first of all tell you, welcome to the show. And thanks for building up that strength to come out and even want to share your story with us in a time when there is so much judgmental stuff happening. People are always judging people on the decision that they make in life, but you decide to come out with your story, which is unlike any other story I've ever heard on the program before. So thanks for just building that strength to come and share your story with us, right? So take your time, Latoya, get comfortable. I want you to get real relaxed. We're family
Mm-hmm.
here, right?
Mm-hmm.
And introduce yourself to the viewing audience a little bit. Tell us a little bit more about yourself, briefly, before we start
Hi
everything else.
everyone,
Yeah.
my name is Evangelist Latoya Jones. I'm 31 years old. I reside here in Orlando, Florida. And I'm very excited about this experience and very excited to tell you my story. Um, as you all know, as you've seen, that I am an ex-lesbian.
Some Latoya, something went on pause. Try again. Something went on pause. I'm not hearing you. All right, stand by, guys, Let me try to fix this on if it's on my end. Yeah, Latoya, it's on your end. It's on your end. As we try to fix the audio here with Latoya, let's try to fix that. I'll call her back so we could continue. Let me call right back. As I said, guys, as I said, a lot of stuff would be revealed here today. And you there? Yeah, you're
Yes,
back.
I am.
Okay, good. I purposely did not listen to your whole story because I want to be as shocked as everybody else watching the program. All right? I want it to be as shocked as everybody else watching the program. So you are an ex-car thief, an ex-lesbian, an ex-drug user and abuser. You was also molested as a child, and you also are HIV advocate.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So let us start from being an ex-lesbian. Let's start from that point. Can we? Can we start
Yeah.
okay, let's start at being an ex-lesbian. How
Um,
no, you know what? Let's not even start from there. Let's start from another angle.
okay.
It's so much. Tell us about your life growing up as a child.
My life growing up as a child, I was raised by my grandparents who were pastors. My mother was a drug addict my entire life. And I was molested by my grandfather, who was a pastor, had been pastoring for over 40 years. And my molestation started when I was 8, and it ended when I was 15. During that time, I would rebel, I get in trouble in school, told different lies to try to protect him because me and my brother used to stay with him and we had nowhere to go, so I didn't want him to get in trouble. And when I was 15, I tried to commit suicide, and that's when I came out with it about me getting molested, and I couldn't take it no more, and He confessed to it and everything.
So hold up. Where was your mother? You say you was sexually abused by by
My
by
step
by your step grandfather.
hmm
All right. So where was your mother in all of this? Where was your father in all of this? Your early growing up life.
My father, he has always been absent from my life, always been absent. My mother, she was in and out of prison and jail, like I said, on drugs. Um, she wasn't really there. She wasn't really there at all.
Right. Right. So the step grandfather was in your
hmm
life for that point in time, and you said he was a pastor.
Yes, he had been pastoring the church. When he passed away, he had been pastoring that church for like 43 years.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Hmm. How did he keep you from telling anyone about this? Because of course, if anybody in the community know that he was sexually abusing you, then that of course would be bad. So how did he subdue or muffle you from speaking out?
He basically tried to basically turn me against everyone. Like he was the only one that was there for me. And when I say that I was abused sexually, I was abused sexually, but I wasn't beaten. I wasn't starved or anything like that. He actually, he was sick. Like he considered me as one of his wives. He told me that David had many wives in the Bible, and he brought me nice things and did nice things, and always told me that if if I ever say anything, they would send me to foster care, and I didn't want to go through that. So and I figured that nobody would believe me anyway. So I never said nothing. When I did mention it to my grandmother when I was 11, and she called everyone she knew to tell them the lie that I told on her husband.
So nobody would believe you. Nobody would believe you.
No, no one believed me.
Wow. So that passed. How old you was at that time?
It started when I was 8 years old.
Uh huh.
It started when I was 8 years old. The first initial time, we all grown. He popped my cherry, and my cycle came on. I had to tell my grandmother she beat me
So hold on. You was
because
a
she
you was
thought,
a you was a he took your virginity.
yes,
I, nasty ass pastor. But go ahead.
yeah, he took my virginity. Cycle came on, told my grandmother she beat me because she thought I was messing with little boys. And he allowed it to happen. He went to the store, got me a dish, and did everything that he could possibly do to cover himself.
Mhm. Mhm. So you said that he admitted it. Who did he admitted it to?
But when it was all said and done, it came out when I was 15. It took a couple of years for it to get to the point where it got to courts and stuff. But in 2005, he finally gave up and told him everything that he did. And the sad thing is that his trial was that Monday in October. He died that Saturday before his trial.
Oh, so he didn't serve no jail time for this.
No jail time. He died the Saturday before his trial.
Wow. Guys, if you just started to watch this program, this is what we're dealing with. We're dealing with a person who have had some serious trials in life. First part, she was sexually abused as a child from 8 years old, right? By her
Mhm.
step grandfather, right?
Mhm.
Right. So we got over that part of it. Now tell us about how did you then become a lesbian?
I was confused. Like, I didn't, after that, I didn't really like men, and I started getting interested in women, and so I did a whole 360 turn. I turned from a girl, and I started dressing like a boy. I had long hair. I cut all my hair off, and I was really dressing like a dude. And I had a girlfriend. I only had one girlfriend, and I had a girlfriend, and I honestly, what I'm saying, I think I did it out of, fear of rejection and not thinking nobody would want me or something like that. But it's not definitely not something that I'm into or really think I was into things. I think I was just doing something.
Right. Do you think that the fact that your step grandfather sexually abused you made you make that decision to become a lesbian when you did?
Honestly, yes, I do, because I've always had dreams of, being married, having children, because I never had that, the two-parent home, and I always wanted that, even from a girl, even from a little girl. I always wanted to have kids and have a two-parent home, and I think that at the end of it and all the ridicule that the church took me through, after me being on the news and all that other stuff like that, I just wanted to change my identity. Do something else, just do something else, basically.
Right, right, right. So, were you growing up? You grew up in church, right?
Yes.
When that whole episode happened, and with the pastor, your step grandfather, uh, were you still active in church? Did you ever go back to church?
I didn't go back to his church, but I did stay in church. I did stay in church. Church was all I knew. Even with me doing everything else, being gay, I always went to church. Always went to church. That was all I knew.
Yeah, yeah. Now let's go a little bit further again. Now, you mentioned that you are, and guys, if we're going a little bit too fast, I want you to slow me down a little bit, right? Because there is so much to get to. I just want to make sure that we could use the whole hour. And of course, if you are watching and you have a question that you want to inject into the conversation, we're going to open up the phone line. Dean, if you could paste the number there for me really quickly. For some folks that want to call and ask a question, I'll put it in 718-701-5720. That's the number. And I'm going to pin it if anyone wants to call in at any point in time to join in on the conversation. Right. So, you then became car thief. So how did you become, how did life change or became so bad that you were on the street stealing cars?
I wouldn't even say that life became so bad, because mind you now that, like I told you, I was molested by him. So he had accounts set up for me when I got grown that I was able to have money, be self-sufficient or whatever. I think it was just, me hanging with the wrong people. And, everybody loves money. I don't care what people say, you love money. And I was looking at one of my friends that he would go steal a car. And back there where I'm from, Sanford, Florida, you can go take a car across the scale. They turn it into an aluminum can and you get $1,000. So I started doing that. I started doing it, and I got caught once. And then after I got caught the first time, and they brushed it off and gave me a little trespass until conveyance. The charge, I did it again. When I was in jail the first time for stealing cars, there was an old lady in there that was a booster. And she was like, I'm retired. I said, what you retiring from? And she was like, I'm a booster. This is my second time I got caught in my profession. And anytime you get caught twice, it's time for you to retire. So I did it for like a couple more years, and then I got caught again stealing cars. And I got caught charged with a grand theft auto charge. And I retired from my profession. I never stuck another car after that.
Okay, hold on. Somebody just asked me to go back a little bit. They wanted to find out one other thing. You said that you was a lesbian and a stud. Explain that. Explain being a stud.
Stud is I was the man. I was the man in the relationship. I dressed like a man, acted like a man, worked like a man, whatever like a man would do, sexually, any other kind of way. That's what I did.
Interesting stuff. Guys, again, I want you guys to be a part of the conversation. We're opening up the phone line. We're speaking to Latoya Jones, and she's opening up her story to us. She's telling us her life. She's telling us her story. She's strong, and she could take it. She got a lot of stuff to talk about, and we're going to talk about it right here tonight. So if you have a question, you want to inject in the conversation, this is the number right here. It's pinned, 718-701-5720. Now, tell us about being incarcerated now and going through that process.
And what kind of what? Can you repeat that?
And going through the process of being incarcerated after the car and being arrested and all that stuff.
I've been incarcerated a total of 41 times. So,
You was incarcerated 41 times?
yes.
So you stole over 40 something cars?
No, that's not all I did, but that was one of my things in my younger days. But I've been in trouble before too, and other things.
Okay. Like, give us some examples.
I was a fighter. I ain't take no stuff. I used to write checks and all kind of things. I used to write checks, criminal mischief, aggravated assault with intent to kill, a bunch of battery charges, burglary of a dwelling, larceny, arson. I've been in jail a couple of times.
Yeah. So, and the list goes on.
Yeah.
Who did you try to kill?
Anybody that crossed me. I was that girl. Like, you don't play with me, I don't play with you. You know, anybody that tried to cross me, they got dealt with in some kind of way. I didn't care if I had to go to jail. I didn't care if you had to go to hell, but somebody was gonna pay for making me mad. It was just, that was my lifestyle.
So how did it get that? But in your mind, were you thinking, yo, this shit is not right. This is like crazy stuff. How, you know?
I mean, that's when the cocaine and stuff started coming in. Getting drunk, getting high. I had started selling dope, and I had a $500 a day habit that, you know, I would, you know, get high. One time I went to jail. I didn't even know I woke up in jail, didn't know what I was in jail for, and had about 15 charges and didn't know nothing about it. Just doing stuff.
So when did the drugs come in?
The drugs came in because I smoked weed. And somebody laced it one time, and then, you know, I smoked a couple of lace blunts, and it's called booming where I'm from. It's called smoking boom, and I would smoke the lace weed with cocaine, and then I would end up going to a get together, and it was a cocaine party, and everybody was hitting cocaine, snorting cocaine. And I was like, hey, what the hell? I'm already smoking it. I might as well try to snort it. And the thing about drugs is you always chase that first high that you get. So that first high that you get, you want to feel that first high like you felt when you first hit it. You know, so that's why a lot of drug users, they keep using drugs because they're chasing that first high. And not knowing that you're never going to feel like that first high that you had. And so I just got hooked. I would sell it. I would sell hard rocks, and I would use the cocaine. And if I didn't have cocaine, I would use a can or whatever I could smoke it out of. I would use it.
So, okay, when you sit down and you think, or did you get any time to just sit down and think and examine yourself and say, yo, what's really going on? I've been arrested 40 something times. You know, I'm out here running this and all of this stuff happening to me. What is my future looking like? Did you have a projection on life, or focus or thoughts on doing anything with yourself going down in the future?
Not at that time. At that time, like I said, I was about my money. You know, I was about my money. As long as I had a roof over my head, as long as I had something to drive or something to do, I was straight. You know, I was straight. You know, I didn't really care about. I didn't start caring about life really until I met my son's father. And I ended up pregnant with my son.
Okay.
I didn't start caring about life then. And I just knew that when I got pregnant with my son, that I didn't want him to go through the things that I went through as a child. So I just started straightening up. And it was hard. It was hard because I would get clean, and then something would happen, and I'll go snort some cocaine or something. And I say, I just snort for a couple of days and then be done with it. And I would do that. And then as soon as something else bad happens, I'll just snort some more cocaine or whatever. I did it. I did that. Then I married his father. Ended up marrying his father, and he was a cocaine addict. Didn't know he was a cocaine addict, but he was a drug dealer. So, I mean, it was just easy for me, like to just do what I wanted to do then. And so it wasn't until that, like I said, I gave birth to my son. And granted, even though I was still using, I had started slowing up a little bit. I didn't want him to be affected by me using, or anything like that. And I didn't want to lose him to me using drugs. So I started to slow up, and it got a little better for me.
Hmm. Do you think that the way how it started, as just how we started the story here, when we said that your mother basically was on drugs, right?
Mhm.
Um, you grew up without a father figure there with you. The
Mhm.
person who was there kind of as a guardian, who your step grandfather sexually abused you. Now, do you
Mhm.
think all of this stuff kind of led to the decision that you made at that point, up to that point in your life?
Yeah, I somewhat, because I had other choices. I can't totally blame it on them, that the choices that I made, because I had other choices. It was a way paid for me to go to college, and like I said, he left money, so I could have did something else instead of turning into the street life.
So
I
why
could
you
have
choose
did.
why you chose those decisions? If there was other choices, there was other decision. Why was that decision the decision that you chose?
Because it was something easy to do. It was easier than to saying go out here and I can go sit up in a house and I can sell somebody a $10 rock, or saying, if somebody sit there all day, or they take their whole check and they give me their whole check, than me going out here and sitting in classes or working on somebody's job. It was easier back then. It was easy. The money was so. If I knew then what I know now about money, I swear I'd be a millionaire, because I went through so much money in my younger days.
Uh huh. Uh huh. Did you ever? Did you? Were you ever employed at any point in time? In up until what age I was that? That was like 25, 26, 27, going up there.
No, we talking about 18, 19, 20, 21,
Okay, around that age there.
22. Yeah.
Were you employable? Were you seeking or trying to better your situation, get a job or anything like that?
No.
It was
No.
about the fast money. I understand people say that in a case, what? GRA form of control. Yeah, in a case when there's fast money coming in, of course, a 9 to 5 is slow money, and a lot of people they opt to the fast money. But did you think at any point in time this is gonna catch up with you so bad that you might end up dead?
Um, I was honestly fearless of stuff like that. Like, I know, like I said, I was raised up in the church, so I know, saying death is a part of life. I'm taught that. So if I would have died out there, I'd have just would have died out there at that point. It wasn't a point where I ever thought about, oh, I'm going to die, or somebody's going to kill me, or I don't have that experience, because I wasn't fearful of death. And I did a lot of stuff. Even I was to a point where, with the hijacking, that somebody did pull a gun on me, shot the gun in my face, and the trigger got jammed. But I wasn't scared. Like, it is what it is. It was my time. It's my time. That was the type of mentality I had.
Somebody pull a gun at you, point it in your face, pull the trigger, and you wasn't scared?
Mm. I wasn't fearful. I didn't run. I didn't try to fight him. I just stood there. And after the gun got jammed, me and my people, we dealt with him. I mean, we didn't kill him or nothing like that, but we, saying, we beat him up real good, and we still took the car. Like, go on to your next project.
So you wasn't scared of nothing. Nothing scared you. Nothing scared you. Scare you.
I'm gonna say now that nothing won't scare me, but back then I was pretty much scared of anything. The biggest thing that I was scared of, back in those days, was my mother. I had a fear of my mother, and even with that, it was to the point that I went toe to toe with her. Like, It's either gonna be me or you. So after I did that, I really wasn't scared of anything else.
Wow. And what was your? Did your mother ever came back and spoke to you or try to talk to you about the life that you was living?
She couldn't talk to me about my life that I was living because she was still smoking dope.
Oh.
She smoked dope all the way up to the last 30 days of her life.
Could anybody have talked to you? Could anybody have got through with you?
It was a number of people that I had respect for, but I figured that, what I'm saying, you just want to be in my business. You don't really care about my situation or what I'm doing or whatever. Because at the end of it, they'll say something to me, and then they'll be like, well, you got some money I can borrow. So it's not nothing genuine.
Hmm. All right. You are also listed and said that you are an HIV advocate.
Yes.
How did you become an HIV advocate?
I became an HIV advocate after I was diagnosed with HIV in 2012. Excuse me.
Okay. Um, Tell us about that. How did you contract HIV?
My then husband, he was very promiscuous, did a lot of stuff, and he was cheating. He was cheating, and he contracted HIV. Never told me, um, and he gave it to me. He gave it to me. I found out. I sing, and I was on my way out of town to go sing. My neighbor called me and was like, that girl at your house. So I turned around, and him and the girl was in my house doing what they do, and me and him got in this big old fight. I went to jail. When I went to jail, the lady was doing HIV testing, so I jumped to do one because my mother was HIV positive. She was HIV positive, had been HIV positive for years. So I knew of HIV. I always took tests and stuff like that. So I wasn't worried about taking the test. I just volunteered to take one. And just like I'm talking to you, me and the lady, she did a little finger prick, and she was waiting on 20 minutes for the results, and she put her hands on her face. She was like, baby, it's reactive. And I went ballistic. I was like, oh my God.
But how could you be scared of HIV, but you wasn't scared of a gun in your face?
I mean, this is like after the fact of me, that life was gone. I was married.
Okay.
Had a baby. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I called my husband at the time. And I told him that I just took an HIV test. It came back reactive.
Uh-huh.
And his response was, "Oh well, we're gonna die together."
Ah.
Yep. So, and it's a window period. You have to wait 2 weeks after you do a little fingerprint test. They send your blood to Tallahassee. You have to wait. Saying sometimes people get faulty tests where you test positive and then really be negative. So I was praying that the test was going to be negative. And when I went back to the lady office and they had the clergyman there, I already knew it was positive when I seen the clergy. And the lady just told me I went home and tried to work it out with my then husband. But one minute I loved him to death, the next minute I wanted to kill him, trying to figure out how I could get away with murder. So I just made a conscious decision that I wasn't going to let it defeat me. I started talking to my friends that I know that's sleeping with multiple people, and I started talking to everybody, just spreading the word. Like, listen, at that time I was 25 years old.
Uh-huh.
So I was like, it's not worth it. Do something better. Make sure you get your partner tested. And it just became a brand for me, like to advocate for HIV and AIDS. And I've since in the past almost 7 years, I have built a brand where I fight for HIV and AIDS. I teach people that HIV doesn't have a look. It doesn't, you can't walk up to somebody and tell that they have HIV or not. So I teach these things so people can be aware.
Right. I want to go back a little bit to when you met with him after the diagnosis and you told him that you have HIV, and he said, okay, we're going to die together. What happened after that? Did that immediately end the relationship, or you guys continued to be involved?
I got diagnosed in August 3rd, 2012, and I stayed. I was waiting on a lump sum of money. I was waiting on some money, and the money came November 7th. I paid him $1,000 to get away from me,
What?
and we've been broke up ever since.
You
Yes,
paid him to leave you alone?
I paid him $1,000 to make sure he can go find him somewhere to go, and he can just move because he wasn't gonna go nowhere because saying our place was our place together. And so when I got the lump sum of money, I gave him $1,000 to get away from me.
Did he ever tell you how he was contracted? How he contracted HIV?
He never told me, but the girl that he was messing with,
Uh-huh.
after it came out, she said that she had it, so he had to get it from her, and he had to have it a while too because it's only 8 different medicines that my body is receptacle to, and it's like 32 medicines out there at
Mm-hmm.
that time.
Mm-hmm.
So he had to go through the medicines and didn't tell me. I had no clue at all.
Wow. Wow. All right. So guys, if you just started to watch this program, if you just started to watch it, we're speaking here again with Latoya. And she just listed a whole set of stuff. If you guys missed it up to this point, you have to watch the program over again and watch from the beginning up to now, and then you will get it, right? So let's talk about how you were able to change now. Now, some people would say, when they see that you are a former or ex-lesbian, they're like, how could you be a former lesbian? If you're gay, you're gay, and there's no change in that, you know. So how did you get away from being first the lesbian? How did you say, you know what, that's not me, I don't want to be a part of that anymore?
First off, with um to a believer standpoint of view, God can deliver you from anything. You can I can it's like it's the same thing with drugs. Just like I say, I don't do drugs anymore, and okay, I don't do drugs anymore. So if I don't do drugs anymore, that means a change had to come. I had to go through rehab. I had to make a conscious decision and say, I'm not gonna smoke no more dope. That's the same thing to me in homosexuality. Especially with me being a believer,
Right.
if I believe that God can change me from smoking dope, why I can't believe that God can heal me from being a homosexual? It was a deliverance process. I didn't want to be that way no more. I don't want to have no thoughts about no females. I didn't want it in my life no more. I didn't want my son to grow up and say, "Oh, I got 2 mommies." No, that ain't having that. So it was a conscious decision to say, "This is not what I want for my life, and I'm not going to do it." I know society says, "Once you're gay, you're always gay." To me, that's far from the truth. Change is possible for anyone if you desire change.
So do you think
If you want,
being gay is a choice that someone make? Like the people who are gay right now, the people who are in relationships, men who are dating other men, women who are in relationships with other women, is that a choice that they make, or you think that they're born that way?
I think that's a choice. I think that's a choice because you don't. To me, it's no way that a 9-year-old can say, "Oh, I'm gay." No, that's a choice. That's a choice, and a lot of and I want to say at least about 70% of homosexuals, lesbian or gay, the majority of them have been touched, have been molested, like penetrated, or been told that they were ugly all their life or something like that. It's something that triggered them to say, okay, I'm just gonna be, I'm gonna be this, I'm gonna be this, I'm gonna be different. It's not you didn't wake up, you didn't come out your mama's stomach and say, "Oh my God, I'm gay." No, I don't believe it.
Interesting stuff. Interesting stuff. Guys, we open up the phone lines. Please call if you want to chat here live. 718-701-5720. 718-701-5720. Very, 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 very interesting story here. Usually we have a guest that have one of these stories. Latoya have like every single one of them. She encapsulate everything. She's been through a lot, which makes it very, very important, so she could be the one to talk about it. So instead of we probably having 5 or 6 different shows, she could tell us about a host of things that she learned in her journey through life. She's intricately placed to talk about all this stuff, which is very important, very interesting. I'm checking your comments here, guys. Joan Stevens is saying, Very interesting. Fiona is saying something is sometimes in the hormone imbalance. That's because that make you gay. Veronica Sandy is saying I believe it's a choice. Natasha is saying a lot for one person. You've been dealt a very serious hand. Sometimes do you see like, oh, why did I have to go through all of this stuff? Why me? Why am I the one that have to go through so much goddamn crazy shit? Did that cross your mind?
It has, but the greatest testimony comes out of the greatest test. And I thank God for like the things that I've been through, because I'm able to help somebody else through it. I'm able to tell somebody it's a better way. You don't have to go out there and get no criminal record, because it's hell to try to fix your name. I can tell somebody, okay, no, you're beautiful. You don't have to settle to think that you have to be with a woman. It's a God that is waiting for you. And I can tell somebody, okay, listen, I know you may be hot in your behind, but you can wait for your husband. You can wait for your husband and let God send you somebody.
Yeah.
And you can cover your body, because there's so much stuff going on out here. Not only HIV, but AIDS, hepatitis, all that stuff. And I tell anybody, nobody wants to deal with HIV. Nobody don't want to take pills for the rest of their life. But I have to. That's why I advocate. That's why I put my story out there, so somebody can know that it is definitely a better way.
What was the moment, or was it a singular moment in time that stopped you dead in your track and say, you know what? I'm done with all this stuff. I'm done. I'm finished. I don't want to be gay no more. I don't want to steal cars no more. I don't want to do none of that stuff no more. I'm going to turn my life around. What was that point?
Like I said, it was a moment that, with my son, my son is God. So, I didn't want him to ever have to experience the feeling I have felt without my mother being there. Whether she was in drugs or around the corner, she wasn't with me.
Right.
And I know all the things that I was doing back in the days would cause me to lose him. So I made a conscious decision. I made a conscious decision to accept Christ and let him do the work in me. And it's not a finished work. It's not a finished work. It's still the work going on.
Right.
Majority of the things that I used to do, I'm not that person no more.
Right.
And it's because I think that every God does everything for a reason. And I think that him allowing me to birth that little boy, who's not a little boy no more, he's 9 baby. But he gave me an opportunity to show him the love that I didn't have, and to be the mother that I did not have. And so with that, I made a decision to say, saying hell or high water, I'm not going to break. I'm going to stand for something. I'm going to leave a legacy for them, which I have 2 now. I'm going to leave a legacy for them that they'll be able to be proud of, and they can say, that's my mom. She, we may have struggled, but my mom always made a way. She was always there. So my son and my little girl, they're my inspirations, the reason why I stay focused, and I still stand for change.
Wow, that's great. Was it, you said earlier growing up, you was frequent in church. So was it easy to get back that part of you to love or be a part of the church again after you went through it, made like almost a 360 and came right back around?
It's still a process. I wouldn't say it's easy, because you have to remember, for so many years I was this hard person, that will bust you in your mouth if you say anything wrong, or or do anything. And sometimes every now and then that person comes out, and I have to remind myself of who I am. I'm not that person no more. And that's why I stay in the face of God and trying to make sure that I'm doing right, and I'm being a light. And not, I'm very blunt. I'm very outspoken. I'm still the same. I'm still that way, but I do it in a more positive level, not more negative level.
What's the biggest lesson? I don't know if you answered that question before, but it's something I want to find out. What is the biggest lesson you learned throughout all of this decisions, this life that you live? What's the biggest thing you learned from all of this stuff?
I learned that you don't have to settle. You don't have to settle for your past. You don't have to settle with what happened to you as a child, or you don't have to settle for what the things you've been through. The biggest lesson I can honestly say is, I had to learn. I had to learn to forgive. I had to learn after I forgave a lot of stuff and forgave a lot of people. And I ain't talking about people that's still breathing and living,
Mm,
because my grandfather is dead, my grandmother is dead, my mom is dead. I'm talking about forgiving people that's been in the grave for some years now,
right.
and just forgiving and letting it go, so I can be a better person. So I won't harbor those things. So I won't, think less of myself or question the reasons of why my mother wasn't there or why was I molested. I had to let that stuff go. I had to let it go and strive to be the best person I could be. Basically, like that's the biggest lesson for me, is just to forgive.
Do
A
you
lot.
forgive your step grandfather?
I forgive him. I forgive him. I forgive him for the simple fact of the matter is I've done a lot of wrong, and it's a lot of people that had to forgive me. And I can't say I want people to forgive me and I can't forgive him.
Right.
Even with him taking my innocence, messing up my womb and stuff, I still have to forgive him, because like I said, in these years I've done a lot of people wrong, and I've had to go back and apologize. I've seen people that I done jumped on, and I have to apologize. You know what I'm saying? Because a lot of things I did, I just did it for show, basically, to show that I ain't nothing to play with or something like that. So I had to apologize. So to be forgiving him, it helps me set myself free too.
Yeah. Deanne Fraser. reading your comments here now. Deanne Fraser asked, um, "What about school or degrees? Did you finish up school or get a chance to do that?"
I am working on finishing. I have 6 more classes before I have my bachelor's degree.
Wow.
Um, yeah, I have 6 more classes. I have my own agency, help outreach, helping everyone live positively. Um, I'm doing a lot of positive things in the community, like for school and helping people get through school and get focused back on the right track.
Wow. Great. Bernadette Thomas Alexis is asking, do you have any brothers, sisters, aunt, uncles that you talk to?
I do. I do. I have an older brother. I have a bunch of aunts, a bunch of auntie, uncles and stuff. Yeah.
Okay. Colette Williams wants to find out, what did your step grandfather die from?
Um, he preached a funeral that Saturday morning and came home and died in my bed that night.
Okay. All right.
Yeah,
Uh,
natural causes.
Natural causes. Yeah. I mean, listen. It. I don't know what to say. I mean, I've never heard a story so complex like yours. That's the first story I've heard with so many twists and turns, so many X and X and X, and you was able to achieve all of that stuff. You basically, at a point in your life, you didn't even care if you live or die. A
Nope.
gun was pointed to your head, and you stood there like, yeah, go ahead, kill me, because you just felt like you had no value for life. And the birth of
Right.
your child changed everything. Boom, new person.
Yeah, it helped me. It didn't happen overnight, now, but
Right.
the birth of him, it really helped me realize that I got something to live for. I got somebody to love me unconditionally. He don't see the things that I've done. He won't bring it up because he don't know nothing about it. All he sees is his mama.
Right, 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 right. Sandra Duncan is saying sad. That's what, sad for the stuff that you went through. God purpose. Okay, I can't really read her statement there. Colleen Lorraine wants to know, how old are your children?
My son is 8, about to be 9, and my daughter is about to be 2.
Okay, okay. Now, this is hindsight is 2020. Looking back, looking back at everything,
Hmm.
would you would you change anything?
I would make better decisions than I made. I would make better decisions than I made. I would do things differently. I wouldn't go down. I wouldn't travel down the same roads that I traveled.
Yeah, yeah. Um, I have some other questions coming up here. Dean, the reason why I couldn't read it because he was scrolling up. Right, let me go back to it. That's why I couldn't get to it. Carla Clement, if we don't try God, how could we have known the answer? That He answers prayers. Sometimes our trial wasn't meant to break us.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
Deanne Fraser is saying hallelujah. With Clive Joseph is saying, with God grace and mercies all things are possible.
Yes, it is.
Yeah. Okay. Deanne telling me kids are a blessing, thank God. Sandra saying, Deanne, yes, I they say that in classes. Okay, Sandra, let me read your comment as you have it, right? That's why I couldn't understand. It says, sad that you went through all this stuff. You got purpose. Does it not your destiny? That's exactly how you wrote it, Sandra. Right? Right. Ebony, thank you so much. Colin Lorraine says, was your daughter tested HIV positive?
No, she was not. No, she was not. Every test came back negative. By the grace of God.
That's amazing stuff. That's amazing stuff. Listen, I thank you so much for sharing your story here with us on Ride Along. I mean, you've been through a lot, you did a lot, you experienced a lot, and you could use that experience, everything that you've learned through life, to talk to people. So I'm kind of happy that you are an advocate.
Mm-hmm.
Because there's so much questions that people could ask you. Your life has completely changed. You remind me of, I had a previous guest, a guy, I can't remember his name. He was on the program sometime last year, and he was a ex-child molester, right? And his story was that he was abused as a child, and then he basically became that. He became the abuser, and at one point in time in his life, he sexually abused another little boy. And people were saying, oh, there could never be anything as an ex-child molester. Once a child molester, always a child molester. And he was saying, nah, he have completely changed. He hasn't done those things he hasn't done these things for years. He's a changed man. Your story kind of make me remember that story that we had. Yes, the pastor, Deanna reminded me, yes, the pastor that was on the program. Your story remind me of that. So people that say, yo, you can't change, you made a lot of people liars here today, because your life, your testimony, your story prove it. Richardson, that's his name, Richardson, I think. Yeah, your story here prove it.
I say something real quick before you close?
Yeah,
I want to comment on that. Anything that you do in life, it is possible that you can change from it. You can change from it. Everybody has things that they have done in their lives that they're not proud of, and that they wish they can change, and some have changed. Some have changed. And you know where you've been, you don't know where you're going. And for me, I have different views on sex offenders and all that other stuff like that, because with God, like I said, on a spiritual standpoint, y'all, I'm a preacher, so y'all,
right.
On a spiritual standpoint, anything is possible. Anything is possible. Yesterday is gone. Today is a new day. God can only God can change the heart of a man. And time will tell if change is really going to happen. It has really happened. When you change your walk, your talk, everything about you changes for the better. Honestly, you can look at me, but you can never tell that I had a shaved head. I had facial hair where I was taking hormones to become a man. You can't tell that, but that happened. You can't look at me and tell that I've been in jail numerous of times. You can't look at me and tell that, because there's no residue. There's no residue. So my thing is, change is possible. Anybody can change. I don't put nothing past nobody, and I definitely don't put nothing past my God. Anything is possible.
Yeah, you said it. You said it better than I've heard a lot of people say it. But listen, continue to share your story. Change a lot of lives, a lot of people around the world. Continue to talk to people. You're an advocate, a HIV advocate.
Mhm.
Continue to do all these things and continue to help people around the world. You're doing a great job. You're a
Thank
renewed person, as William just said. God renews your spirit,
yes.
and we thank you for sharing your story here with us. Any last words you want to leave with the audience before you leave?
Everybody stay encouraged, stay encouraged, stay encouraged. It's 2019. Go higher, go harder, and push for whatever you believe in. God is able.
Yeah, there you go. There you go. Thank you so much, Latoya. We're gonna keep in touch.
All right, bye bye.
All right, bye bye. You hear that?